Welcome to Laptop Radio. Today's topic is the story behind the Samos NFT project. We have Freak Jesus, an artist, with us. Hello, Freak Jesus. How are you?
Hello. Oh, I'm good. Thank you for having me here. So it's a pleasure.
Where are
And
you
I hope,
based?
yeah, I'm based in Portugal. I live in the north near Porto. It's a city. The name is Braga. It's a cool one.
Awesome. Tell us your story.
I'm graduated as a civil engineer, but since I was really young, I always love doing drawings and paintings. But in that time here in Portugal, I think it was really difficult for your parents to say you should do art. I didn't know what to do. I went to college and I graduated as engineer. And so after that, I started to do some works as a freelancer, as a graphic designer, and then I discovered the world of NFTs, and it was then when I started to do art. I usually can say that I'm always like a digital artist since the beginning, so that's I think it's a cool thing. I never did like physical art. Yeah.
How do you describe your art?
At first, when I started to do art, and I always used Photoshop, I didn't have an iPad to draw. I didn't. So I started to do some collage. That's something that I really love to do, to create some histories, stories with little pieces of magazines and stuff like that. And then when I started to enter in the NFT space, I started to have so much knowledge, information about people, what people were doing, the softwares, the equipments that they used. So one time, I think one of my collectors, he told me to try to buy an iPad and try to start to paint. And I did that. And yeah, so since then, I think my art is a little bit of pop art with the neo expressionist. And I try to mix that two styles and I add some college that I used to do in the beginning. And that's the way that I'm going now.
Which NFTs are you the most proud of?
It's really difficult because, for example, I have this collection. It was about the people that artists that die with 27 years old, and it
Mhm.
was like I remember when I did some lunch party and I sold out. So it was like, yeah, it was really a good feeling. But I think I have lots of artworks. For example, I have this collection that I made about relationships, and I think I have eight, and I sold two, and I have six, I think, left. And for me, it's like one of the most beautiful that I create. But I still have four or five to sell. But yeah, I think every time we look back, we always say, like, "Oh, the next one it will be better." I think it's really difficult to say what the one that I like more. And I think also depends what I'm feeling now. If tomorrow I'm feeling like more happy or something like that, I could choose another artwork that I could shoot today.
What colors do you usually use?
Yeah, I like to use like vibrant colors. I use lots of yellow, purple, turquoise, uh, red, yeah, orange, green, but always they must be vibrant. But I also like to do black and white. It's also a thing that I really love. And I use a lot of black and white stripes. That's
Mhm.
something that I start to do, and it was my signature. I don't use in all of the pieces, but I think it was since that collection that I told about the artist that died 27, the 27 Club. I started to use on that collection, and since then I start to using a lot of art. I think in almost artworks I use some stripes, but it's not something that I have to do it, but I usually try to put there.
What inspires you?
One of the things that inspired since the beginning, one of the things that I did a lot, it about women. For me, it's the masterpiece of the planet
Mhm.
because I don't know how to explain. It's not only about the body and the shapes of the bodies, all, but it's always the way the woman think. I'm passionate about the world of women, and I did lots of stuff with women, and I think it's the most important for me. But also sometimes it's like screaming out my feelings that I have inside of me. Sometimes they could be a little bit depressive, but sometimes they are really fun. I have this thing that is the punk rock scene. Since I was a little teenager, I really love the punk rock scene, and I try to put some of that feelings, that the raw of the punk, in my artworks. And I think even the colors, if you see some, it's not like vintage, but it's a new punk, and my more vibrant. But I try to do something that it's catchy to people.
Do you get the inspiration before you create the piece, or when you're creating the piece, or afterward? Like, how do you feel before doing it and after,
Okay.
when you're creating an artwork?
Sometimes I start to do it, and I have some idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to create an angel, for example. And when I start to do the angel, and then sometimes the shapes starting to go another way, and the angel starts to be like a lion or something like that. So sometimes it's where my mind takes me. But sometimes, for example, if I have a collection in mind, I start to think what I'm doing, and I create 5 or 6 pieces, but I always think what I'm going to do. But when I start to do it, sometimes I do it and I don't like it, or I put aside and start to do another thing. So I think it all depends of the time and the inspiration that you are having, because sometimes you can do a fun collection, and if you are not in a good mood, it will not show the fun in the art. So I think we have lots of factors that can decide the way that you go. But usually, sometimes I have this idea, and sometimes I'm watching TV or looking to Instagram or something like that, and sometimes something it comes to my mind, and I usually sometimes I write the idea to don't forget, and that's the way that I do it. And even in the beginning, I went to lots of these vintage photograph things, and I passed like hours and hours looking to old and vintage portraits and that stuff. And sometimes I went there to get some inspiration to create my things. That's
Tell us about the Samos NFT project.
Oh, the Samos, I like this idea in the beginning because I was buying some NFTs, some projects. So I was in vacations in Sintra. That is a beautiful place in Portugal. And I had like, why should I could create something about some NFT? I started to create the Samos, and I was creating the lines in the beginning. I was thinking like painting like a kid, like that colored books that we have. I was doing that black line, and then you can paint as you want. I started to do that, and I was thinking, okay, I could create some backgrounds, and yeah, I wanted to create something that has like colors to take you to children, and it's something that since I was like my 30s, I really wanted to work ONG on any organization to try to help not only children but other animals and stuff like that. And I was thinking to create something that it could help to get some money to help people. That was my drive, and that's the thing that is behind what I was creating.
Awesome. But what does the NFT look like in general?
Yeah, in general, if you look at the same, it looks like a doll. So it's like it remembers me not only like that color books, but the dolls that they are made by hands. That I don't know the words, like puppets. I think that it takes me to when I was a little kid, and usually sometimes I played with my two dolls of my sister, and also when I was a little boy, my mother was a dressmaker, so I always have these textiles, and I create my clothes to the dolls of my sisters, and I create my own toys, and so it's not only to remember the children, but I think it takes me to that place when I was
Yeah.
young, and that's the whole idea.
Yeah, they look awesome.
It's like I told you, I have the idea to create something, but it's something, it's coming when you're starting to do, and then you start to have some more info for some other place, and you start to create something better, something that combines a lot of things that you can get from the world.
What is your vision for the project?
The vision for me, of course, as an artist, one of the things is to share my heart. That's also important. But as I told you, I always had this side that I care about people, animals, and the environment. And sometimes it's difficult to choose what do you want to do. What if you want to help animals, your kids, or so this time this give me some feelings about when I was young. So I wanted to do something that could help kids with needs. We had already organization that we will help.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really wanted to do was to choose one from Asia,
Yeah.
because the first time that I visit some country in Asia, I was so amazed with people and with the
Mhm.
culture. So I travel a lot. I visit a lot of countries in Asia, and I was like always getting all that culture and all the people. Sometimes they were poor, but they were always smiling, and I can tell you that changed me inside me.
Yeah.
And I remember sometimes I say to people that there was a no before visit Asia and a no after visit Asia. And that when I say that is I start to didn't care much about to have a lot of stuff, but to care about more about people, the feelings, and to try to help people every time I can. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
difficult. The project, the idea, the main idea, it's not only to have fun and create something fun like a kids that people related with it, but also to try to help. And if we can help giving money to some charity.
Tell us about the partnership with the Children of Mekong.
The children with Mekong, we were searching for charities.
Mhm.
We have lots of charities around the world, and sometimes we don't know the people that
Mhm.
they are. So we have a common friend that we have with the guy from the charity,
Mhm.
and because I think that's it's important that we have this confidence that we will give the money, and the money will be well spent, and we have the right persons. And yeah, being in the Cambodia, it was the first place, the first country that I visited in Asia was Cambodia. So it has lots of meaning to me. When I went to Cambodia, it was to see all the kids with less things. They were always smiling to you, and it's something that is in my heart, and it's something that I know that I need to do to help.
Yeah.
And because the smiles that they show to me, they change me. So yeah, that's the idea, is to help them. The idea is it's not only to be only with this one, but you can reach to other ones, but the main at this moment is only this one.
Where can people learn more about the Samos project?
Yeah, we have the social media like Twitter and Instagram, and also our website.
What is one piece of advice that you have for the community?
I think you should follow the Samos and try to imagine that this will take you to when you were children, and when you look to the Samos, to think that you will help someone,
Mhm.
and you also have joy and happiness. Samos, it's all about joy and happiness and lots of colors.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for having me,
Yeah.
and bye.
Bye.
Thank you.